Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen, wa salatu wa salamu ala rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Welcome to episode 10 of the series Leadership Lessons from the Sunnah of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. One time a young man came to the Prophet sallam and he said, Ya Rasulullah, give me permission to commit zina. So people, out of nowhere, this young man coming asking the Prophet sallam for permission, so people started scolding him, started quieting him down, saying, "Mah. In other words, shh, be quiet. Do you realize what you're saying? You're coming in public asking the Prophet ﷺ to give you permission to commit zina." So the Prophet ﷺ said, "Come closer." So the man came closer and sat down right next to the Prophet ﷺ. And the Prophet ﷺ said, "أتحبه لأمك?" Would you like it for your mother? So the man said, "La wallah." No, by Allah. May Allah make me sacrifice for you. So the Prophet ﷺ said, neither do the people like it for their mothers. This man is asking for permission to commit zina. He said, the Prophet ﷺ asked him, do you like it for your mother? So the man said, no, by Allah. This is definitely not. So the Prophet ﷺ said, neither do the people like it for their mothers. Then he continued to ask him, he said, أَفَتُحِبُّهُ لِابْنَتِكَ? Would you like it for your daughter? So the man said, no, by Allah. And the Prophet ﷺ said, neither do the people like it for their daughters. Would you like it for your sister? He said, no, by Allah. He said, neither do the people like it for their sisters. Would you like it for your aunt? He said, no, by Allah, I wouldn't like it for my aunt. So the Prophet ﷺ said, neither do the people like it for their aunts. And then the Prophet ﷺ put his hand on him and he said, he made dua for the young man. He said, Allahumma aghfir dhanbah wa tahhir qalbah wa hassin farjah. Oh Allah, forgive his sins and purify his heart and protect his chastity. He put his hand on the young man and he made dua for him. The narrator of this hadith, he says, after this young man didn't used to turn to look at anything. In other words, he was able to protect his chastity. There's many leadership lessons that we learn from this beautiful example, this beautiful authentic hadith from the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. We see how the Prophet ﷺ, as a leader, how he exhibits a high level of emotional intelligence, how he was able to understand and relate and connect and engage and challenge and inspire and empower people. We see how he approached things too. Obviously, the man knew that zina was prohibited, that was haram. The man came to ask for, otherwise he wouldn't have asked for permission for it, right? So when the man came to ask for permission for it, it showed that he knew that it was something prohibited, it was something haram. So the Prophet ﷺ didn't repeat, didn't say, no, it's haram, but rather he asked him questions to get him to think about it. If someone comes and they don't know the ruling on zina, fine, you clarify it to them. You explain to them, well, zina is haram, it's prohibited. But this man obviously knew that zina was haram, otherwise he wouldn't come to the Prophet ﷺ to ask for permission to do it. For a kind of exception or kind of permission from the Prophet ﷺ to commit zina. So the Prophet ﷺ asked him questions to get him to think. And reflect on what it is that he's asking for permission to do. And just like other people wouldn't like it for their mothers, for their daughters, for their sisters, for their aunts, for their female relatives, he wouldn't want it for himself. This young man wouldn't want the same for himself, right? He wants honor and respect for his own family members as well. So again, helping himself have some self-reflection and think. Another lesson we see is that the Prophet ﷺ truly cared about others. As a leader, a true leader truly cares about others. And this shows when the Prophet ﷺ made dua for this young man, when he put his hand on him, when he made dua for him, shows that he truly cared for him. Such a beautiful dua. Instead of saying, get away, you want to commit zina, astaghfirullah, what a horrible man you are, he made dua for him. And that strengthened him. That made him leave with more determination to stay away from what Allah has prohibited. And another lesson we learn from this, a leadership lesson we learn from this, is that gentleness is more effective than harshness when it comes to leading people. Although Although there are some exceptions, and we'll mention some of those as well, inshallah, in other episodes, how sometimes being harsh is more effective, but that's the exception. Again, the general rule is being gentle, as that is more effective. Barakallahu feekum, jazakumullah khaira, wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.